To begin, or rather to summarize, a linear inequality is essentially the same as an equality. In other words, y equals 5x plus 2. But instead of figuring out what the line is, sure, up until now we were interested in the line. Now we're interested in, is it above or below that line? Consider this. The y value is on the lesser side. So this is the less side and this is the more side. Okay? So I want all of my y values, all of my up and down, all of my heights, all of my, you get the point. I want all of the y values that are underneath this line as I move along the x-axis. Long story short, once you figure out where the line is, figure out if we are interested in the area underneath the line or whether we are interested in the area above the line. End of lesson. How do we approach this in a mathematical problem sense? Here's what I'd like you to do. First, if it is not so already, rearrange it so that you have y on the left side and everything else on the right side. Now, this could be a less than sign. This could be a less than or equal sign. This could be a greater than sign. This could be a greater than or equal sign. I don't care, right? But the left side, make it a y, and the right side, make it everything else. Just like y equals mx plus b. Is that the question on the test? No. Let me, this is an explanation. Next, I know that the question will have some kind of inequality, but pretend it is an equal sign. Pretend it's an equal sign and graph this line. Next, figure out whether it's greater than or less than, and then shade the area appropriately. Again, what I said just now is a bunch of instructions that might not mean anything to you, so let me demonstrate it. Okay, coming down, Here we go. Here's my first example. We are on the first question. Make y, put y on one side, put everything else on the other side. Is that done? Yes. Yes. Next, pretend that inequality is actually just an equal sign and graph it. Go ahead. By now, with your practice, you should know what b is, you should know what slope is, you should be able to sketch it in 30 seconds. Go. Let me pause the video for a second. Okay, we got some visitors to make an announcement. Give me a sec. Let me pause the video. So the question was, what the heck does this line mean? Well, it's like this. Let's say I have 2x minus 1 is less than a 0. That means the first possibility on the left, it must be like a negative, right? But if I do this, it must be a negative or it could be a 0. That's what it means. It's not quite the same. Having a less than sign means it must be a negative value. But if I have a line here, it's basically less than or equal to 0. It could also be a 0. That's the difference. Okay, so let's do it. By now, I'm hoping that you took the opportunity to quickly sketch. My b value, my y-intercept is a -1, so I have a dot here. And I have a slope of 2x. That means rise, run, rise, run, rise, run. And I can also go in the other direction. My line is like that. Yes, Andrew. 2x. I didn't plot it. I know that my slope is a 2. In other words, 2 over 1. That tells me my rise is a 2 and my run is a 1. If it's a whole number like this, you can assume that the denominator is 1. Correct. Why did you switch the What I said was, if you want to start graphing this, pretend it's an equal sign and draw this line first. We'll go back to it. So again, let's say you got to a point where you graph this line. I want to now go back to y is, Angus, what's that sign? What was that sign? What does it mean?
Y is less than.
Less than. So we have two choices. We can shade above the line or shade below the line. Logically speaking, if you know the y value is less than this line, am I drawing above or below? Below.
Oh.
Why would it be above? Think about it. I just told you my y values that I'm interested in must be smaller than the line. And so I think it sort of makes sense to say I am interested in all the areas that are smaller than the line. This is the full correct sketch of an inequality. It includes a shading. And if you are the type where you need every corner shaped perfectly because you got this like artistic perfection thing going on and nothing less than perfect is good enough for you, I totally get it. I do. But for the sake of things like a test, feel comfortable with just letting that one go. And if you have time, you can come back to it and sketch it out. All right. I get it though. I remember wasting some time with that when I was in grade 9 and even in like middle school too. And didn't work out for me. Yes. Pardon me? How do I? Which side? Let's put it this way. If you see that the y value is less than, so less than right here, if it's a y is like this, then do below. Highlight below.
Below what?
Below the line.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, everything under here this way. Everything below. Okay. Then I would do above. I would do above if it's greater than. Okay, here's my second example. Theo, okay. All right, everyone, let's do this fast. Taking a look at 2y minus x is less than or equal to 6. Do I have y all alone? So change it. We have. Right? Do I have y all alone? Huh? Well, just like pretend it was an equal sign. If you pretend this was an equal sign, you can add x to both sides, giving me x plus 6. So even if it's called an inequality, what you do to one side, you do it to the other side as well. That doesn't change. Okay. Now, is y all alone? No. I need to divide both sides by 2. And guess what? Y is less than or equal to there. Moving on. I'm going to get this graphed. I'm going to pretend the inequality is actually equal to. Right? I'm going to pretend it's an equal to, and my b value is here. My slope is rise over run. 1, 2, up, 2, up, and 2, up, and 2. My line is there. Okay, so again, this is y is equal to half x plus 3. What area is less than half x plus 3? What area is less than half x plus 3? What area is less than half x plus 3? It's below. Okay, and so this is there. See, this line is equal to half x plus 3. This area is under half x plus 3. Does that make sense logically? Process your mind, think about it a little bit, see if that makes sense to you, because what if I give you the reverse? What if I give you a graph and get you to give me the inequality? It's a possible thing. Hint, hint. So if you're feeling comfortable, if you feel like, I could use a little bit more practice, here's one I would like to give you. Ready? I want to see if you fully understood it by giving you a graph, and I want you to give me an inequality instead. Here we go. It's not so bad. It's not so bad if you really think about it. So consider this as some kind of weird T question. Here's my graph. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's pretend I have a point -3, 7. Okay? And I go through a y-intercept of 1. Here's my line. So let me fix it. There. Here's my line. And what I want shaded is here. Okay? No, you figure it out. You figure it out. I'm going to give you some time to try it. What I want is, what is the inequality for this blue shaded area? I'm going to give you a minute because it might take some time for some people who's picking this up still new. What is the inequality of the blue area? Try that now. Okay, judging from how some people were taking this, I am a little concerned because people were still struggling with the actual equation. Please remember that having a y-intercept of 1 means that the coordinate is a 0, 1. And if you want to figure out the equation, which is really important, you need to first figure out the slope. Slope is, in this case, y over x minus y over x. We've practiced this a lot. This is -6 over a +3. My slope is a -2, not 3. I'm not sure where some people got their 3s from, but really, really reflect on this, because this is, I am taking this knowledge, I'm assuming, I'm making an assumption that you know how to do slope after all this time. I'm going to take it for granted. But if you're having trouble with slope, that's not even unit 6. So please review this. It's super, super important. Okay, put as many stars next to this as you can to tell yourself you got to review this. Next, because my y-intercept is already given, my equation is -2x plus 1. This is the line. It's not the blue shaded area. So how do I indicate the blue shaded area? Let's see a couple of hands. Oh, new hand, Spencer. Yes, this blue area is y, area that is more than this line. No, the blue shaded area is above the line. It's bigger than the line. Right? It's above, it's bigger than the line. It's the blue area is above. Right? And that's what this indicates. The y area that is greater than the line.
Wait, how
The
is,
one that's drawn, not.
Correct.
wait, is shaded area a line?
Yeah, well, the shaded area is represented by the y value. When x is something, right? The y value could be a 1, a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It could be any of these, and it would be okay. But the y value cannot be underneath a certain point. Right, that's essentially what this graph is trying to tell you. It's the y value. My final exercise to you to see if you can grasp this idea of inequalities goes back to our third example. Take a look here. All right. So inequality, I want the area that satisfies both conditions. The area where the x value is bigger than 2 and the y value is bigger than -1. To start inequalities or to graph inequalities, just as before, pretend that the inequality is actually an equal sign. And if I told you, go ahead, graph these things, what would you do? I'll give you 30 seconds to try it. Some of you will hit a wall because you haven't done homework. Other people might vaguely remember something that looks like this from your past. The reason I say that is because these aren't your typical y equals mx plus b lines. Hey, guys, up here. What shape do these two lines take? Here.
Sorry.
Okay. What shape? What kind of lines is x equals 2 and y equals -1? I thought I saw it. Straight lines, yes, but normal lines are also straight lines too. What do you mean by a straight line? Straight down, a perfectly vertical or a perfectly horizontal line? Absolutely. But what's what? Which one is what? So is x equals 2 a vertical or y equals -1 a vertical? So which one's vertical, which one's horizontal? Huh? It is. And the y equals -1. Is it a guess or did you figure it out? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If you forget to put it in your cheat sheet, you can still figure it out because math is a language. X equals 2. Tell me where you see x equals 2. Right here, right? But guess what? X equals 2 at this point too. X equals 2 here. X equals 2 here. X equals 2 everywhere here. It doesn't matter. They didn't ask you for it. Why? Oh, these are two separate. These are two separate relationships. And so if you think about it that way, when do you ever see x equals 2? It's a vertical line. In the same way, when do you ever see y equals -1? You see y equals -1 here, 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 here. If I connect the dots, all of these points are y equals -1. So I'm going to label this as x equals 2, y equals -1. Question? Pardon? Where to color? Oh, it just says x is greater than 2 and y is 0. Yeah, it is. But they're two separate equations, either way, yeah. So think about it this way. Now that we have graphed this, let's go back to the inequality. What area has x values bigger than 2? Look at this vertical line. You have a 50-50 chance. Left side or right side? What is bigger than 2? The right side. So the first inequality is talking about right there. That's blue. Now I'll do red. In this graph, just look at this horizontal line. Which area is greater than y equals -1? Not about left this time. Top side. So the second inequality is talking about this. Which area satisfies both conditions? Right there. This shaded area is both above y equals -1 and greater than 2. In this area, y is above -1, but x is smaller than a 2. So it does not work. Same with this. This side, the x is greater than 2, yay, but the y value is smaller than -1, not yay. Inequalities. Being able to look at a graph and talk about it to give me an equation is going to be a very useful thing for this evaluation coming up. As practice, I would like you to try the next page. The answer key is already put up online, so I will just leave that with you. I'm going to stop the video because that's it. From here till 1:35, you may use the time as you see fit, but I need everyone ready and raring to go at exactly 1:35 because I'm going to start with a very potentially shocking T question for you. No, unfortunately. So if you need to go to the washroom, that's great. But again, it needs to be supervised. I got an email from the VP saying, stop letting kids out randomly. So, well, as a school, I think we abuse that privilege. So I can only send you off one at a time. Yes. It's probably the most ignorant news I've heard all day. That's what are you doing with your life? Okay. I'm happy for you. Particularly proud of you specifically. All right. Let's do it. Let me stop the video and try these 6 graphs. Answer key is available. As I said, 1:35, please.